right, so very excited today to have Bill Taylor from Taylor Industrial Sales, near and dear to my heart, as one of the very first customers of Repfabric. An incredible agency that is in material handling, the PTRA market. Bill, how are you today?
Hey, Bill.
I'm just ducky. Weather's nice. Things are great.
Awesome.
Thanks for taking the time today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us a little more about Taylor Industrial Sales.
Well, it's 40 years ago. I was crazy enough to start the business. After spending a little time with a big manufacturer, I found out pretty quick that wasn't going to be for me. The corporate life, back in that day, you really had to move around a lot to climb the ladder. My dad had been a very successful industrial guy, and we moved a lot when I was a kid, and I swore I didn't want to do that. And I was crazy enough to take a transfer out of Florida. I think I was the first guy ever to do that. And as soon as I landed,
and still the only.
As soon as I landed, I said, there was sand deep in my loafers, and I figured out a way to get back. So I sold everything. My wife and I, we didn't have any kids, and came back down here and started the business in '85, and starved to death, and here we are.
Yeah, that's
years
awesome.
later.
You got a heck of an agency. Tell us a little bit more about your industry.
Well, we're not really a niche or specialist type rep firm. We have some major markets that we service, but we really appeal to a lot of different industries within our geographic territory, because we now cover the Southeast. And of course, we've got all kinds of industry, forest products, sugar, cement, aggregate, general machinery OEMs, pumping, all kinds of stuff, wastewater, coal-fired power plants, everything, all of the above. So we're involved in all of that. And depending on the market segment, some of them can be up or down. Of the 13 segments that we really like to think of as our main segments, 12 of them were showing the business uptrend for 2025. Now that this tariff situation has come on and kind of sidelined that a little bit, but for the most part, our customers seem to be wanting to make moves and to spend some money. They're just a little hesitant on the tariffs right now. As soon as we get over that hump, I think things will start to move.
Yeah. Do you try to quantify that in terms of the deals that you're working, and obviously you've got adjustments to T's and C's and pricing and so on and so forth, right? It causes a lot of paperwork impact, I would think.
Yeah, we're usually the direct communication method to the customer by our principals, and so it can be challenging. The price increase days of the COVID era was really, really challenging, and it's challenging right now. But we try to keep that whole thing straight for our customers and communicate with them, because the price increases and the tariffs can be dynamic. They can be moving all over the place constantly. It takes a lot of organization, and it takes a effort on our part to kind of keep things straight.
Mm. Yeah, I can imagine. I think you guys are pretty unique too in what you're doing with your motor test lab and whatnot. Do you see that business, people trying to rehydrate, things that normally they would replace and perhaps they're going to fix instead?
Well, a couple of things that we did. We built we're in the motor business, and we just found that segments of that service that the manufacturing companies depend on, some of it was lacking at times. Delayed. So we just built a little dyno, and we could test small motors here. It's kind of simple but rudimentary, and it works. And so we can usually tell a guy what's wrong with his motor, small horsepower motors, pretty quick. And then we also were heavily involved in the boat lift business, and we have a boat lift simulator where we can test gearing and motors and whatnot. It's a value added. It's not a revenue producing thing at all. Never made a dime on it, but we have the capability of getting a fast report to our customers. We don't have to rely on the plants to do that stuff. And so they know it, they like it, they come here, they witness it. So it's just an added wrinkle that we do just as value added.
I mean, what horsepower do you go up to on your testing?
Up to about 3 horsepower. So we sell a lot bigger motors than that. but the bulk of it is the small motors. And the reason that we kind of focused on that was A, we could afford to do it. It's small equipment, but B, those are the items that are the traditional service centers that we rely on really don't like to mess with. So there's not a lot of money in it, and it becomes this festering sore. So it allows us to just circumvent that, speed it up a little bit.
That's really good.
Well, I just think it's unique that as a rep, you guys are innovative and coming up with ideas like that, right?
I think going forward, reps are going to be asked to do more and more. It's value added, and that's just a way that we do it. I'm sure there's reps out there that are doing a lot of similar stuff that just happens to appeal to our industry down here. So,
So you mentioned what John mentioned at the beginning that you were one of the first Repfabric customers, an early adopter. So, just from my vantage point and my learning, what did you first see in the tool that you liked, and how has it evolved, and what do you like about it now?
Well, John was a good salesman.
Nobody's told me that.
He tricked me.
Met his wife. He is a good salesman.
How many of these guys out here are doing this, John? None. And then he tricked me. Now,
let's be honest, we were at the bar.
The thing we had, like everybody else, we had a CRM program that just bounced around all over the place from an ownership standpoint, and there was just no service available. The program that we were using was so unstable, and we were supposed to be able to access it remotely and whatnot, and it was just a nightmare. And any kind of assistance that we needed from a technical standpoint was a nightmare. So consequently, you start moving away from it, and you start using inefficient means to record your activities and to record the data that a professional sales organization's got to keep. And so it was really this, just really fortunate at that meeting in La Quinta at PTRA where one of the gentlemen there said, "You might want to talk to this guy out here, this John Mitchell." And when I found out he was from Tampa, I said, "Man, I got to buy this stuff." So
man,
home court advantage.
So it's just been such a great tool. It's exactly what we wanted. It's exactly what we needed, and it's just been a really, really easy, efficient, and really, really effective tool. And if we use it, I mean, we're just religious about it, using it all the
that's
time.
amazing.
Well, and I think that was one of the things, Bill, too, is that you guys had a decent amount of organizational discipline, too. It wasn't, let's say, an easy rollout to switch your CRMs and starting to, request more information from your field folks and getting them in more of a habit change kind of mode. How did you go about doing that?
I started to kind of monkey around with it, and I knew that if I could get it, all these young guys could get it. And it was just so easy to prove to them how efficient Repfabric would make them, and how inefficient we were while we were operating the stuff that we were using at the time. And as soon as I introduced it to those guys, they were off and running with it. They were doing stuff with it I didn't even know that it could do. And so it's not, I don't want to use the word easy in a simple sense, but it is easy. It's easy to grasp, and it's easy to become very efficient, utilize that tool. And we use it for several things. I mean, it'll do a lot of things, as you know, but we use it for some critical information processing that we rely on it daily.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, whenever we see people with a good adoption, there's usually a part of that's lead by example, right? So it's encouraging to hear you say that, Bill. I love it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that was unique about you guys is you offered such good feedback, and I think we were able to kind of take that feedback and provide it back to you, do some engineering, take it back to the to the dev team, and keep working on it and iterating it so that we can hopefully help tune it to the way you do business as well. And I think one of the things that was unique about you guys is that you actually started on sort of the CRM modules, but not so much the back office modules of the sales and commission side. And, as you kind of brought that on, what was that like, that transition, switching the sort of the financial calculator at the end of the day is is an undertaking that not everybody wants to do. So how did you kind of make that leap, you know?
Well, back when we first started, the CRM portion, as you call it, the back office, was really the problem. We had a little company that we were dealing with we utilized their commission module, and it was frankly working. But it wasn't going to be the module of the future, so to speak. And so what Repfabric offered was a one and done software package that would track that commission sales. It tracks sales from which we calculate commissions. And what that really does from an efficiency standpoint is that if you have XYZ distributor that sells 4 product lines that you represent, it allows you to organize all of that data into that particular account. If you don't have that type of organization, to find out what that customer means to you, you have to look up 4 different principals' sales sheets and break that information down. Now you're getting into real inefficient sales management, and that is the bane of a small businessman. If anything, you have to be more efficient in order to survive. And what that allows us to do is to see real quick what each account means to us in total, not just for a particular line. And it allows us to do that quickly. But we use it so that commission we call it the commission module, but it's really a sales analytic module, allows us to calculate commissions for all of our sales guys too. So they pull up into the parking lot. They can go right to their iPhone. They can access Repfabric. They can then search the account and pull up the sales analytics and tell where they are versus last year for each principal which that customer purchases product. And that's invaluable. They can do that in about 3 or 4 minutes. They walk in, they sound like they really know what they're doing.
One of the things you did that I thought was pretty awesome is you made a technology hardware investment at the same time, right? You kind of modernized your team's tools. What was kind of the mental thought behind that as we were kind of first getting started with you guys? We
had we started way back. We had daisy chain Macintoshes for crazy, but we had along the way made purchases, key upgrades, but we really thought that with Repfabric coming on, we really needed to invest in a whole new hardware setup. Of course, we also found an IT guy that's a third-party contractor that was excellent. And what it's really done is it's stopped the erratic downtime that we were having to deal with hardware going down, with files that couldn't be read, and then it went right straight to our CRM, which was erratic also. It really smoothed out the whole IT process for us. Not to say we got the same issues. We get lightning in Tampa, and the next thing you know, everything's out, and we got to get the IT guy in there. But that's going to happen anywhere. That's not the hardware's fault. But it was a very smart decision. We got the small laptops out to all the sales guys so that they can work in their hotel rooms, and the long and the short of it is it was one big package. That
you converted your email system too, right? That was another big deal.
Yeah, they're bringing back nightmares, John.
Sorry.
yeah, but we were kind of the typical rep in that we just kind of bounced along and kind of winged it, did as best we could, but deep down inside, you just know that system's not right. And so we made it right.
Hey, Bill, do you have to provide any of your manufacturers with reporting? And if you do, how do you do it? Or have you avoided that so far?
Yeah. Well, there's a sign back here on my desk. It says paperwork or people work, not paperwork. But
nice. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a
lot. So the activities module in Repfabric is a really, really good tool. So here's the way we use that.
Okay.
I have never, ever, ever required any of my sales guys to do call reports. I don't want to know that they stopped by and called on Johnny or Bobby. I don't care. I don't care if they went to lunch. I don't care if they took them to play golf. Now, a lot of companies like to track that. They think that's activity. But to me, that is worthless. And it's non-revenue producing stuff for us to do to kind of keep track of those activities. The activities that are important, for instance, in our world, it's surveys, it's critical meetings with the customer, it's joint sales calls to a user with a distributor where there was something generated, a very good, strong inquiry,
Impact,
those kind of
right?
things, and those are the items that we can communicate with internally, and then we use that when asked to communicate with our principals. So I tell my guys, I am never going to ask you what you've done and where you've been as long as your activity journal is updated in Repfabric. If I'm calling you, it's because you are now in trouble because you don't have anything that's worth a flip in the activity portion. And it really, they like it. I mean, despite the fact that they're required to put that stuff in there, they like it because it makes them efficient. They don't have to listen to me chastise them for call reports and all this fluff. It's the meat of the business, and that's what those principals want anyway. So that's what we use. That tool is critical.
That's awesome.
Cool.
The other thing is that if a principal wants to discuss an important project, theoretically, I can go to that Repfabric contact, and rarely they'll call me about something else and then ask me about the project. And it's easy for me to go into the record, pull up the activity, and then look for attachments. Maybe they got a drawing, or maybe they got a survey, or they've got something or a quote that is assigned to that. So it just makes the whole process efficient.
I know as you guys have been growing, it's been exciting to see you grow into the Southeast. Obviously, that brings its own set of challenges, right? And how do you guys manage these new folks that are joining your team that might be in a remote territory? How are you bringing them up to speed? Because I know that's a challenging item for many people as they grow, right?
Well, we've got guys that have been at it for decades, and we've got young millennials, and so the long and the short of it is it's A to Z, and from an experience standpoint. So that the answer to that question is kind of it's layered. The new guys require a lot more hands-on assistance on the sales calls and in training, but they are trained immediately to use that Repfabric, and they catch on quick, and so a lot of the documents and records that are pertinent to a particular account that they're going to go see and never have seen before are in Repfabric. So they can be brought up to speed on even the emails that we've attached to that account, to that individual. They can see where there were surveys and when. They can see when there's joint calls made. They can see where there was quoted, and then they've got the sales information. That is to say, the bookings that of that individual account. So they can, without us having to sit there and spoon feed them, they can research that data by themselves and get familiar pretty quick with the account.
So they can bring value to your manufacturers very, very quickly.
Right? It's all about,
that's huge.
It's all about efficiency. I mean, it's such a buzzword, but boy, you have to be able to keep this stuff straight and regurgitate it quickly. Yeah. And Repfabric does that. That activity journal does that. It's excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you, Bill. That's really cool. That was really cool.
Great. Well, yeah, I think so. I think we're at about time. And,
but real quick, if people want to learn more about what you guys do and Taylor Sales, is there a website they can go to? Or are you guys on LinkedIn?
Yeah, it's gotisco.com. It's Go Taylor Industrial Sales Company.com. Gotisco, Tisco.com.
Nice.
So the millennials started up. That wasn't me. don't they thought.
Don't worry, we won't give you any credit. So don't worry.
Yeah.
This has been really great time. Yeah. Thank you so much again for your time.
Yeah.
Thanks. Honored to have you, Bill.
See you in PTR.
We'll see you in San Antonio. I'll buy you a beer.
No, this is on us.
Thanks.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Have a great one.